Creating a Flask project, section 2. In this section, we're going to take a look at a few things. First, we're going to create the enrollment application, and then we'll be running and configuring the dev environment. Also, we'll create the homepage of this application and also the navigation menus and the routing patterns as well. So let's see what we need to do before we can start building this application. First, we're going to create this project structure to make sure everything is in the correct locations, the correct folders that we needed, and so forth. And then we're going to create the application package, which is a special file, a special directory. And in that directory, we're going to create a file called the init.py. And then also we create the directories and substructures for the templates and some static data files. And then we're going to refactor the main py module that we created in the previous video to make sure everything's still working as expected. So let's go into the Visual Studio Code and see how this is done. So back in the Visual Studio Code here, I'm going to terminal and make sure that I am running in the virtual environment. So again, if you're on a Mac, make sure you type in the word source followed by env, venv in my case, /src, scripts, /activate. Okay, if you're on a Mac, if you're on a PC, just remove the word source and just hit enter when you have this link here. And now you should be in the virtual environment in green in my screen here. Okay, so we are going to create a application package. Now a package is just nothing more than a directory inside this enrollment project. So I'm going to go right in here, just make sure again you are in the enrollment folder and create a new directory called application. Some people prefer to call it just app, or you can call it the name of your actual application, which is fine. And the reason why I do this is because you don't want to put all your files in this root directory. And so what we'll do is that we will modify this main py module to link or load all the files inside this application folder. If you are a Node.js developer, if you are familiar with other frameworks such Angular and Vue and React and so on, you see that it's follow this very similar structure. You have a main file, main entry application file that links to the underlying application inside the folder here. Okay, so in here then I'm going to create a file called __init __.py, and this is the initial file that will, it's like a default, like an index.js file if you're familiar with Angular and Vue.js and so forth. So it will look into that file for any initialization of the file and so on. So eventually we're going to move the app module, the app object into this file. And then at the same time, I'm going to go and create two more folders. And this one is called templates. This is to house all our templates, like HTML templates, basically. And I'm going to create another one called static. Okay, static is used for storing static data like images and audio, videos, or any of the JavaScript files or CSS and so forth. Okay, anything that is not generated dynamically will be stored in that directory. Okay, so we'll leave this as is for now. Later on, we may add more to it. But for now, this is good. So I'm going to go into the main file here, open that up, and I'm going to copy everything here, move all of these into the init file. Okay, so I'm going to select everything here and copy, or you can cut it, and move it into the init py and just paste it in here. Okay, so now, once we do that, then we need to also, let's see if I need to do anything else in here. I think this is good for now. We can save this file. Okay, we need to make sure that the application knows where to start because it's going to look inside the main file. How do we know that? Well, because our environment, it says to look into the application called main.py. Now, since it's empty, it's not going to work. It won't run. It won't find our application, our app object. So we need to then modify this file later to make sure it's going to load that file in there And then, so to do that, we just basically import that file to this file. And you're just going to issue this command called from the application. Okay, that's the package, the directory. We're going to import the app. Okay, this app here is that variable here. Okay, we're importing this to this file from this module. In other words, from this directory called application. But application does not have the app. Well, again, application, when you do it this way, it's going to look by default inside this underscore init file. And that's where it's going to get this app for us. So if you save that now, and then everything should still work just as before, because we just basically move things around a little bit here. So if I go into the command line down here and type in Flask run, okay, as you can see, it still works just like before. If I go ahead and click that, and it should still load just exactly like before. So that's how you would set up your application. And then I think we should be good to go. And if you want, you can go into the static here and create some more folders. I can go ahead and create 2 more. Maybe we'll call it images, and then 1 more for CSS. And just in case if you do want to add some CSS or other JavaScripts in here, you can always go back and add it in here. Okay, so I think that's good. And just make sure that, again, you modify the main py to include or to import the app from the init py here, and then that should be good to go.